This week, Jammu witnessed a terrorist attack. 2 bombs were dropped on an Indian Air Force station. This attack marks the beginning of a new security threat for India. You could ask why. After all, no one died, no equipment was lost. The only casualty was a roof damaged by a bomb. So why is this such a big deal? And we'll tell you that this story is not about the damage inflicted. This story is about the way in which the attack was carried out. These 2 bombs were dropped from a drone, a commercially available drone. Any of us can buy something like this. Some terrorists bought it. They rigged it to fly explosives and dropped bombs on an Indian Air Force station. Who was behind this attack? The Lashkar-e-Toiba, we are told. First, they attacked India by sending terrorists from Pakistan. Then they used suicide bombers in Pulwama, and now they're flying killer machines. The enemy remains the same, but the tactics have changed. Why now? What explains the attack now? To be fair, what explains any attack? This is what terrorists do. But experts do point to a few things that may explain the timing. Number one, the India-Pakistan ceasefire. It has been in place for 3 months now. It doesn't suit some players, so this may be an effort to foment trouble. Number two, the Indian government's engagement with political leaders in Jammu and Kashmir. It doesn't suit some, so they want to stir things up. And number three, this comes just days after the attack outside Hafiz Saeed's house, for which some in Pakistan have blamed India. Well, whatever the reason, the involvement of a Pakistani hand looks very likely. We say this because it has happened before. Earlier, a Pakistani drone flew a distance of 12 kilometers to the Jammu region in India. This Air Force station, where the latest attack has happened, is 14 to 15 kilometers away from the international border with Pakistan. So you can imagine why this is very much a possibility. Terrorists sitting in Pakistan striking targets in India with drones. And the very possibility is a security nightmare. The fact that it's happening should be a wake-up call. Drone terrorism is a reality, not just in India, but the world over. And nobody seems prepared to handle the threat yet. So today, India raised the issue at the United Nations General Assembly. India talked about weaponized drones, how terrorists are using drones to gather intelligence, to smuggle weapons across the border and to conduct targeted attacks. India called this an imminent threat to security agencies worldwide. Recent events only validate the statement. In 2018, 2 drones carrying 1 kilogram of powerful plastic explosives took flight in Caracas in Venezuela. They were designed to target Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela. This was a targeted assassination attempt. It failed because the bombs went off mid-air. The drones fell into the hands of terrorists, in fact, at least 5 years ago. In 2016, ISIS carried out its first successful drone attack. 2 Kurdish fighters were killed in northern Iraq in a drone attack. After that, other terrorist groups picked up drones. And rapid progress in drone development has only helped them. Drones are now commercially available. You can buy them off the internet. They're cheap. They can fly at low altitudes, which makes them invisible to radars. They go undetected, and that's why they're so dangerous. Commercially available drones come equipped with advanced capabilities. They can be programmed to fly to predetermined GPS coordinates. Basically, you can set a location, add a payload, and set off a drone. It will reach its destination and act like a weapon. In other words, a terrorist can rig a drone with a bomb, dispatch it and attack from a remote location. They won't even need a remote operator in the vicinity to strike. So what is the world doing about this? And do we have rules to regulate drones? Well, we do. Different rules in different countries. In the United States, if your drone weighs more than 250 grams, it needs to be registered with the United States Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA. It's the American regulator for the skies. The rest of the rules are basic. Drones can only be flown below 400 feet. They must remain in the sight of the operator. Operators cannot fly drones in restricted airspace or near aircraft and airports. They cannot fly over groups of people, sports events or stadiums, even at the site of emergency response. And in case someone needs to use a drone in these areas, they would need special permission. The European Union has similar rules, but heavy drones that are above 250 grams cannot be flown near people. What about India? India does have rules to regulate drones. Individuals must get the nod of the DGCA. That's the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, to import, manufacture, trade, own and operate drones. Drone operators need a license or a permit to fly. Small drones cannot fly above 60 meters and they're not allowed to fly to strategic and sensitive locations, like near airports, border areas, military installations, and any other classified or strategic or vital installation designated by the Indian Ministry of Home Affairs. In the month of March, some rules were relaxed. The Indian airspace was split into 3 zones. There was a green zone where drone operators could fly after intimation, a yellow zone that requires clearance from the defense establishment, and a red zone where you cannot operate a drone. Now, going by reports, at least 34 green zones were identified across India where drones could be flown. Some red flags were raised. Reports say just last week, the Indian Defence Establishment and the Ministry of Home Affairs opposed the relaxation of rules. The Home Ministry wanted an 80-kilometer buffer zone around all military, strategic and high-value targets where drones are not allowed to fly. In hindsight, the objections were valid. You see, there's no technology yet to detect, destroy or prevent a drone attack. What we have is a clear threat. So it's important to acknowledge this threat and to start preparing to counter it, which is exactly what South Korea is doing. Today, the police in Seoul conducted a drill. They simulated 2 scenarios. 1, a drone dropping explosives, and 2, a chemical attack from a drone. Take a look at this. A drone can spy on us from above. It can drop bombs, even chemicals. With the operator sitting somewhere far away, this is what we're up against. Autonomous weapons, killer robots. So far, drones were in the hands of just governments. But now even terrorists have them. So while India thinks about what to do with its drone regulations, it must also consider a national policy on lethal autonomous weapon systems. Perhaps it could start by backing a push for a complete ban on killer robots at the United Nations, just like the treaty that completely bans chemical weapons. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.